Well, hello everybody. I'm No02, everyone's favorite mouth breather, and I appreciate you watching this video. I'm doing this walkthrough series, keyword walkthrough series, sort of in conjunction now with my Nightmare playthrough series, where in the playthrough series I'm sort of demonstrating and exampling some strategies and my thought process on how you can beat the game on Nightmare mode in solo queue, playing with random people, with bots or speedrunners, either way. But the thing that I've been running into, or the thing that's been killing me inside, it's killing me, is that I don't get to cover all of the potential content that you could utilize on some of these maps. And so the walkthrough series can be on recruit mode. I'm gonna just literally go through the maps and just point out this is a good place to hide and fight, and this is a bad place to be, and look out for sleepers here. Like, I really want to dig deeper into like the map knowledge and a lot of the different strategies that you can potentially implement depending on your team comp and the situation and circumstances and things like that. And just sort of give more examples, like just basically more knowledge is power sort of thing. That you guys can potentially use in your Nightmare playthroughs. And so I'm going to be doing it checkpoint by checkpoint now, where I'm just be using like the deck that I used for actual like timed speedrunning, just to get from point A to point B really fast, show off the things that I want to show off, and that's about it. Right, and so when it comes to Resurgence and Blood Tunnel are basically glorified hallways for a really long time. We'll buy a stun gun, we'll buy some pain pills, nothing else matters.
Let's just assess
And we're chilling, right? So this is all going to look pretty familiar to you.
This is Hope 1. Do you copy?
Usually clearing out these rooms,
all cleaners back at the Ville.
typically correct.
Hard copy?
Right, even though I talk about this like loot less sort of mentality. You know, when it comes to like these maps where they're basically glorified hallways, looting is relatively easy, right? You would loot all this nonsense, and etc.
Did you see that?
Now in Nightmare mode, there's going to be sleepers just about everywhere in this area, and the key to being sleepers, you're going to hear me say it all the time, and I'm going to repeat it every time. The key to beating sleepers is memorization and vigilance. You need to remember where they spawn, and just always be vigilant to check these corners. So sleepers can spawn here, here, here. If this door is alarmed, a lot of times you can jump over here and shoot a zombie and aggro the zombie to that alarmed door, and they'll break it down for you. Now, in every map, there are invisible lines on the ground. Triggers that, once you get past these triggers, the game will stop populating the map behind you with zombies, right? Because as we move forward, the map is automatically being populated by zombies. And as you make forward progress, the game will stop populating the map behind you. Part of that is there are some areas, like this area here, I find in Nightmare mode, the game wants to spawn things constantly in this area. So I find a lot in my playthroughs on Nightmare mode getting trapped trying to get around this corner, because the game likes to spawn things on this high ground out of your vision, and they can jump down on top of you. So this would typically be a really good area to sort of push forward, just to get some extra space, get some vision into this corner. You can aggro a bunch of things, and if you do that quickly enough and efficiently, you can sort of make this hallway that can be a really big pain way easier to deal with. This is the collapsed room. Great place to hold out. Zombies can only enter here or here. Some of this is obviously going to be repeated information from my actual playthrough, but some of the maps are going to be different. Sleeper spawn, and etc. As most of you want to know, or as most of you already know, don't hold the horde out up here. Way too many spawn points on this roof. You can get easily surrounded. You want to hold the horde off here. Alright, very easy to hold off the horde here. Beware of stingers. This right here seems to be a common stinger spot, and that over there. Stingers like to jump up. So if you hear the stinger sound effect, you know, just be ready, because a lot of times they won't shoot you from down there, they'll immediately just jump up.
This is going to be messy.
Throwables from bots don't hurt you, even Molotovs.
Sniper rifle.
Sleeper. I'm just gonna point out all the sleepers, right? Sleeper can spawn right there. Everybody knows this sleeper.
Hey, you don't want to be all the way up there.
Again, too, if you have alarm doors in this area, you can shoot in this corner.
One piece. Good.
You can actually
Let's
shoot
get back on
over
track.
here, or over here. That'll potentially pull zombies to pretty much all these doors. It's pretty rare when you don't have a zombie somewhere on this side to get through alarm doors, and same thing for this alarm door.
This way. I saw someone slip
Sleeper,
on me.
sleeper,
Get back up.
exploder.
Over me.
If you just sprint off this ladder and land on this stuff, you don't take any damage.
Over here.
Sleeper can spawn, right? Sleeper can spawn right there,
They have no manners. Watch out.
and right here, and right there. Now, I do want to mention something about misusing pipe bombs and things like that. Oh, hello. I've seen a lot of players, once you get to this point, players with pipe bombs or Molotovs, or not, pipe bombs or firecrackers, get to this point and the team will go, all right, let's run. And they'll just toss a pipe bomb and then they'll start running. For one, pipe bombs are usually only as good as how fast the ridden are. Because you'll throw a pipe bomb and it will aggro. Is that a pipe bomb right there? That's a shotgun. You'll throw a pipe bomb. You'll aggro a bunch of zombies. But most of them won't make it to the pipe bomb that you just heave-hoed. The pipe bomb will blow up before most of those zombies make it.
Assault rifle here.
And all you did was now aggro a bunch of zombies who were neutral before. And now they're going to start chasing after you preemptively
Here. Let me
without you even having to shoot at them or anything like that. So just be careful about using your pipe bombs
Stupid idea now.
in a situation like that, because you might actually just create more danger than you remove. That door tends to be alarmed a lot of the times. You can choose to, if you can get your whole team there safely and then shoot the door down together and then run through, you can do that. One thing too that you can also do, you can shoot the door, trigger the alarm, shoot all the birds at the same time, right? And then you can just run back here. A lot of times there's propane, things like that. One thing you want to keep in mind is this is not an ideal place to hold the horde off, right? As you can see, there's a lot of flanking potential here. So if you're going to do this strategy, an alternative that I would suggest is actually jumping onto this. Now, there is plenty of ways that the ridden will climb up this, and as you can see, things will spawn over this wall. And they can climb up most of these sides, if I recall. But one thing you can do here is that as you're holding off the sides, everyone's sort of holding an angle like this for the most part. If you start to get overwhelmed, you can jump back over here. And just so you guys know, you can make this jump with 0 extra movement speed. I know I'm running, whatever, 20, 35 extra points of movement speed. You can make this jump without any movement speed. With my movement speed, I can make it without mantling. And so, if you are holding this trailer with your friends, typically you'll hold this half of it, this end specifically, so that if you get overwhelmed, you can call out, jump back. Because jumping back and forth between verticality is always an advantage for you and your team. You can do something similar over here, but it's not quite as much space. Another thing too, right, those birds right there, and you might think, oh crap, our path has been blocked. As you can see, you can use this truck to
Still me, isn't it?
jump over here, and you can bypass these birds and still stay on the high ground. Beware of sleepers on these trailers.
Jesus, where did they all come from?
Right there as well. Sleeper right there as well.
There.
I'll never say let's do this.
And you can just run this path. This room here, this is a trap. I would highly recommend that you skip this room. Just because verticality that we cannot reach as players is always our disadvantage. And things will spawn. Things will spawn up here and jump down on top of you. in Nightmare mode, there's typically a whole horde of zombies just chilling up here. So if you come into this room and make any amount of noise, you're going to risk lots of things dropping down on top of you. So you can sort of hold out in a corner and mitigate a lot of that sort of vulnerability. But a lot of times I find this room to be just a trap. Like a lot of rooms, I've had a lot of runs die in this room because people wanted to loot it. One thing to keep in mind, if you stay on this high ground, you are sort of in the middle of things. So if you shoot your gun at any point, you're going to aggro all these zombies on the side. An alternative route you can take here, and this is actually the speedrun route because it's a shorter distance, right? It's a straighter line. If you run here, sort of annoying that there's birds here, but basically you either take this path right here, check for a sleeper right here. You can climb this and run this way, and you sort of, obviously you're running into zombies here, but the zombies on the other side of this truck are far enough away that you can shoot your gun and not aggro them. If you're shooting your gun in the middle, you sort of aggro both sides.
Through here. What's that?
Beware of a sleeper right there, right here, sleepers, and a sleeper right here. And if you can get to this point and there's nothing chasing you, and these doors aren't alarmed, there can be these can be relatively quick places to do a little bit of loot and then get back out.
Are you crazy? Shut the door.
And that's Resurgence, right? Just you know, just some good places to fight, some bad places to fight. Verticality that you can't reach. I forgot to mention it, but the construction area, that's a horrible place to fight. If anything bad happens in the construction area, get the heck out. Get out of there. Go back to the collapsed room or something. Blood Tunnel, though, is also going to be another glorified hallway for us. A couple of things here that you may not know about. A common strategy is that you leave 3 people up here. 1 player jumps down as a sacrificial lamb. If you're going to do that, I highly recommend that you blow these birds up. Highly recommend you blow those birds up. Especially, or if you're going to have the sacrificial lamb strategy, and you're going to hold out in this area, blow those birds up 100% of the time. 100% of the time you blow those birds up. I find that for whatever reason, the horde that the ogre calls and the horde that those bird calls, I feel like they stack together. I don't know if that's true or not entirely, but I just find it easier to kill those birds preemptively. But you can let the ogre call a horde and then shoot the birds and stack them together, and etc. One thing to note when you're doing this strategy, I do believe that the ogre can't reach you here, from my understanding, but I've never played this position. If the ogre is here and you're playing this holdout strategy, 3 players are up there shooting and 1 player's down here, the player that's down here can hide behind this bin. The ogre will walk over here, he'll try to grab you, and in fact there's an animation for the ogre reaching behind this bin. So as the ogre gets here, you just run over here, and he'll try to grab you, and then he'll walk over here. The ogre will walk back and forth. He'll never walk back here. So you can actually just run to here, and then over here, and then back over here. And you can kite the ogre indefinitely.
I got this.
The other strategy that you guys, if you guys watched my playthrough, you can actually despawn this ogre by running. And you can actually do the same thing. You can have 3 players actually just chill up there. And if you have 1 player who's confident in their movement, you could just have 1 player run the gauntlet here. Beware of sleepers right here. And of course everyone knows the right wall has way more sleepers. You can have 1 player run the gauntlet. Watch out for the sleeper right there and right there. And you can actually despawn the ogre.
We're gonna need bigger guns, my friends. Bigger guns.
So this voice line, we need more bigger guns. Every character has a unique voice line. Whoever gets to this area first will trigger a voice line where they're talking about the ogre. When you hear that voice line triggered, the ogre is actually despawned. So when you get past this second door and trigger that ogre dialogue, this ogre will either walk here and he'll burrow away, or he'll walk back over there where he came from and he'll burrow away. You actually remove the ogre from this area. So if you have 3 players still chilling at the safe room, 1 player can run all the way here, despawn the ogre, and then if he can, if he can get back out into the tunnel, he can get lots of open space and he can just sort of run around wildly while the other 3 players then show up to rescue him, basically. And that can be just a really nice strategy to not have to deal with the ogre at all, not burn any ammo. This is an area where a lot of runs die as well, because there's 2 areas to loot. This area right here, and this area over here. Right, and my recommendation would be players who are hurt and who want to use a med cabinet should go right. They should loot this area, and they'll come over here and they'll heal. Players who don't need to do that should run over here and loot this area. Split the loot up, because what I see a lot of the times is players will run over here, they'll loot, they'll check out the supply crate, they'll read a card that maybe is available here, and then they'll run over here and they'll loot this area. Players who came to this area first, they'll loot this area, and then they'll go, okay, now I'm going to run over here. And then they do the same thing. And you sort of have players, and the whole team is crisscrossing. And you have the risk of wasting a lot of time. And there's some verticality here that can get you killed. Things can spawn up here and drop down on top of you.
Just the excitement. That's all.
It can really heck you up. Sleeper on that wall, sleeper right there, and sleeper right here. And again, too, just another loot area. I do find that this area is a little bit safer to loot.
Need to reload.
Because it's just one nice straight line. Important to note here, and I pointed out before, this opening from this barrier to this wall, mutations cannot move through it. Stalkers might be able to move through it, I don't know, but like tall boys and exploders cannot fit through this hole. So you have an infinite loop here. So if a tall boy is here, and he's chasing after you, you can just jump through here. And then he'll have to walk over here. He'll walk over these rocks. And when he does that, you jump back in here. And then he'll have to walk back over here. And then you jump through. And you can create an infinite loop where you can kite these mutations indefinitely between this gap. This is a map, because my strategy is typically loot if you don't, or don't loot if you don't have to. But for Resurgence and for Blood Tunnel and for Paint Train 2, because the secret room is so on the path, it's like immediately on the path. Usually having a toolkit is pretty nice here. Again, if this dorm is alarmed, you can usually aggro zombies through this hole right there, get them to blow up the door for you. In Nightmare mode, there's always a sleeper in this hallway, from my experience, and it's either right here or right there. But I pretty much see it all the time. A nice little loot area. And this is sort of a place where people do get bogged down quite a bit. Not because of the loot, but because of the apprehension. Pretty quickly to loot this area, beware sleepers. Literally, sleepers can spawn on all the walls in this area. But just know that once you step out of here and go just a little forward, you're going to trigger the ogre. And when the ogre is triggered, it spawns a horde. And when that horde happens, half of it usually comes from behind you. Just keep that in mind. If you're going to hold out in this area and kill the ogre, keep in mind that when he spawns, he's going to call a horde and it's going to flank you for sure, almost. But I actually would recommend running here to some extent. It's important to remember that the player who is running first is usually the safest, and players behind him can get hurt. So if you have one pipe bomb left, this is the place to use it. Don't use it preemptively.
Damn, you stink.
A lot of times you can sort of clear a lot of this out. Usually, just don't be scared.
This if you want it. Ammo here.
Then we just kind of book it, right? You can sort of jump over this truck if you want. And I recommend that you hug this bus. And you're running and you're running. Throw a pipe bomb when it gets sketchy. And this is going to be the really hard point right here. In Nightmare mode, there's going to be just a flood of zombies here. So this is where you're going to want to use the pipe bomb. If you have a pipe bomb, toss it through the hole. Don't toss it in front of the hole because they'll just keep walking through and they'll still be in your path. So if you're going to use a pipe bomb, throw it through the hole and it'll clear the path for you. Also, too, when you get here, you can actually just throw a grenade as you're getting close, blow up all the zombies in the path, and you sprint through.
Oh yeah. Hey, we're getting close.
And then again, my recommendation: don't loot this area. Don't loot this area. I would recommend that you, as a team, you just jump down, move as quickly as you can as a team. Beware sleepers. Right here, they'll grab somebody. But basically, if you have a grenade, you can throw it, blow up this door. All 4 players or whoever's still alive can sprint together, jump on down. Or all 4 players can jump into this little cubby. 2 players can shoot the door down. 2 players are meleeing zombies away. Then you break on through. If you break hard right, I've never been grabbed by a sleeper that's over here. So if you just hug the right side here, any sleepers that are over here are typically not an issue. Just beware a sleeper right there, a sleeper right here, and a sleeper on this wall. This sleeper is tricky, he'll get you. But basically you just enter, hug the right, anything over here is not an issue. Shoot the sleeper, grab your intel, shoot the sleeper, etc. So, there's not a whole lot of variation on how you can do that map. Basically the variation is you're running past the ogre, or you're killing the ogre. And I would recommend that if you're going to kill the ogre, don't run past the ogre the first time. You don't want to have to kill the ogre with 100% points of health, with 100 health in the second tunnel, because that's a really hard place to fight. You're better off doing the sacrificial lamb strategy. And then if anything does happen, you at least have 3 players in a good position when bad things show up. So if you're going to kill the ogre, fight him at the first tunnel, and then fight him again at the second tunnel. If you're going to run past the ogre, then it's best to run past both ogres.
This is General Phillips, commanding
We'll grab a
officer
toolkit here.
of the Free Settlement of Fort Hope.
So when it comes to looting this area, typically, again, right, I'll recommend that 2 players go left, 2 players go right. If there's no birds here, then there's usually some copper can spawn here, but not a big deal. Quite a bit of mutations right out the gate here. But this is sort of an area where you want to quickly loot as possible, because you can just waste a lot of time. Just check the cars, whatever, check on top of this stuff, and etc. Grab your nonsense. But this area is pretty straightforward. This is a great area to sort of use the leapfrog strategy, where usually you can see lots of zombies. Where you have lots of line of sight to see zombies, so I would just shoot, sort of jump and shoot your gun, and just aggro and pull as many of the zombies, because in Nightmare mode, this is going to be full of zombies. So just shoot from a distance, aggro as many as you can. Once they get closer, you kill them, and then now you have all this open space to get over here. You can go this way, there's no birds. That way, it doesn't really matter. Again, once you're here, aggro all the zombies, pull them to you. Once you clear the area, then you can you just do this like leapfrog pattern of just aggro zombies, and then you take the space. This is a map there where you may want to consider having two toolkits. One for the safe room, or one for the secret room, one for the minigun.
See that?
Minigun option is sort of dependent on how many grenades your team has. If you're lacking grenades, then the minigun can be a nice alternative to save, and if you want to save grenades potentially, then the minigun is a great alternative. The swamp, as you all know, is a pain in the butt. There's really no good place in the swamp to defend. There's no good corner or room to hold yourself in the swamp here, because things can spawn above us, right? Verticality that we can't reach is a huge disadvantage for us. So my recommendation for the swamp is pick right or pick left. Right, oh crap, birds over here. We won't go left. But just do not linger in the swamp. loot as little as possible in the swamp. Pick right, pick left, or pick right, and then you just hug the wall. Left is a shorter distance. Left to me feels less dangerous, but of course, if you don't want to disturb the birds or you're scared about that, just hug the right side of the wall. Hyper vigilant, because whenever you shoot the guns, you're going to be aggroing a bunch of things. Hug the right side. Be careful of birds right here if you're going right, because you might just walk right into them by accident. And you're really just trying to get out of the swamp as quickly as possible. The swamp might be a good place where you might want to decide to burn a grenade. I mean a pipe bomb. And then once you're to the river, I just get the heck down. Do some quick loot in here, right? Get the heck down. Beware the sleeper in this container. This sleeper will get you. I feel like this sleeper has lightning fast reflexes. But typically, if there's no birds here, hug the right. Again, right? Just, oh crap. Right, we're just hugging the right. Beware of getting knocked back into the water. It'll kill you. Sleeper. Right? Sleeper there as well. Sleeper there. And sleeper right there.
Let's check this place out.
And cannon can spawn in here. It's gonna be a little silly that I would actually have the ogre following me. One thing that I want to demonstrate here is this infinite loop. I demonstrated it before, but there's only one way up onto this blue train car, and it's right here. And so if you're solo queuing or trying to clutch, you can jump back and forth. As you get overwhelmed, you can hold it off, defend your fighting, but as you get overwhelmed, you can just jump back. And etc. Jump back and forth. We're also going to get the minigun. Because again, on this position, you can use a spot for more than just speed clutching and creating an infinite loop. I would recommend you put the minigun out like this. I don't know if we can shoot that fast enough. Because the issue that you're going to have when you're on this train car is going to be ranged things. Wretches and stingers. So I actually just highly recommend that you point the minigun out like we did. And you have one player who's just mowing down mutations as they show up. Okay, we almost got him. Okay, where's that ammo at?
Oh yeah.
Walker, you're not in take care of that.
We got him. Okay, we got him. Alright, so basically this player's job is just you're killing all the mutations. Don't shoot common with the minigun, it's you kill mutations with it. And he's just killing all the wretches, all the stingers, anything that shows up over here. The other three players are just looking here. The other three players can very easily hold this off. Note though that bots do not like to climb up here. They do not like to climb up here, so I'll jump down and they'll follow me. But wherever you leave the bots, like wherever you are,
Holly, you need to look after yourself.
or wherever the bots are, when you jump up here, the bots will typically stand pretty still. Like the bots won't move, but if I jump, they'll start moving instantly, and then they stop. And they start moving, and then they stop. For a reason, like, if you go to a place where the bots can't reach or can't pathfind, they just stop walking entirely most of the time. In my playthrough, I demonstrated holding off right here. So again, just to repeat, this sand trap only lasts, I think, 37 seconds, something like that.
Take a second. You'll be
But if you tuck yourself into this corner, stingers can't really reach you. As you can see, they like to jump up onto that wall, and we can jiggle peek them.
Now I won't feel bad
Stingers
about
can
it.
stand, Richardson Stingers can be over there and shoot you from here, but again, you just jiggle peek them this way. And once you get overwhelmed, if you sprint off that ledge and land right here,
here. Take
you don't take any fall damage. So you can sprint off from there once you get overwhelmed. You can run to these boxes, you can set up your infinite loop, and we're chilling again, right? And that's sort of the two strategies that I would recommend. You either hold out here, you can infinite loop with this area as well. You can also hold out up there. Like, that's actually a great place because there's only two directions that the zombies can come from.
I'm like a reverse thief.
And it's just relatively safe. Relatively safe. You just hold out right here. Sort of works better with less players. And that's it. Get over. We were sleeper right there. Sleeper here. Sleeper right here. Sleeper over there. And at this point, you really do need to run. As soon as the sand trap is done, just book it to the safe room. There's just really nothing over here to loot that's worth your time, just in general. This loot, it's all a dirty trap. You get into here, you're trapped, and etc. Don't run through this water. This water will slow you down. You can jump here, climb on over. Technically, it's faster to do this, but yeah. The game will also be spawning things. Once you get to this point, once you get to this floor, the game will be spawning things upstairs. So just make sure that whoever's going first up these staircases has a full magazine of ammo. Because on staircases, it's better to kill zombies as they get on your way, as opposed to meleeing them out of your way. Because if you melee them, they may not get out of your way. So player first up the stairs, make sure that you have a full clip of ammo just to shoot your way through as you shoot your way up the stairs and basically force yourself onto that next plateau. Because once you get to that third floor, you push back the spawns, right? Zombies are spawning basically at the top of that staircase, and once you get to the top of the staircase, you push those spawns away from you. Basically giving you more space, basically like instantly giving you more territory. And the crossing. This is a hard map to clutch on actual online campaign because you have to plant 2 bombs. In solo, you only need to plant 1 bomb. Right, but once we're here, you heal up.
All right, we got this.
Make sure you have all your loot, all your ammo,
All we have to do is get
etc.
across the river. How hard could it be?
My recommendation: if your team is leaving the safe room with pretty much all of its loot, I recommend that you just drop down, jump right on over. You don't need any extra movement speeds to make this jump. You just drop down, jump over. It's free. Even if you do plan on looting this area with your team, I still recommend that you do this path. Like you keep this verticality advantage, because there's going to be a lot of sleepers, alarm doors, a lot of traps. Sleeper can spawn there. Sleeper can spawn here and there. I just find that if you take this path specifically, before you jump down and loot it, you can sort of get a lay of the land, kill a bunch of zombies, mutations that show up, right? They have to climb over this wall, and they have to just walk this gauntlet. They climb over right there, they walk here, and the way that mutations climb up is right here. They climb up right here. As you can see, a barrel will spawn right here. So you can shoot things from up here. You can shoot things that are climbing up right here. Like, you can have 1 or 2 players always watching this. And of course, if you get overwhelmed, you can jump right here. And you can make this jump without any movement speed cards. A free jump. You do have to jump precisely. If you misjump that, you will not be able to mantle it.
Ammo.
And so we just use this verticality to our advantage. Don't shoot zombies over here. They just respawn infinitely. I recommend that all 4 players are up here when you shoot this. The only exception is if you want to throw a pipe bomb out the gate here. You want to throw a pipe bomb just as this blows up. I recommend the pipe bomb player stand right here, and he throw the pipe bomb. over in this general direction. You don't want to throw the pipe bomb in this corner because that'll pull zombies into your path. So you want the pipe bomb to sort of land this in just this general direction. Avoid throwing the pipe bomb in the water. It sort of messes with the pipe bomb's effect, as you might imagine. Blow it up, and then you jump down. And I actually recommend this path. This is sort of bad RNG. I have never seen a mutation stand there before. But this is a short path. Super duper short path. Just keep in mind that if you fall in this water, you die. Which is why I like, once you're up here, you jump down, and you book it over. And you just have a super straight path. No need to jump, you just run, and etc. And it's just going to give you a super duper straight line. We like those straight lines because you're not going to be running a speedrun deck all the time. So the straighter the line,
Hang out with you guys more often.
the further you're going to get with the less damage you have. I also like to open up this door. Beware sleeper right there. Just as an alternative pathing, because once you're planting the bombs and you need a way up, there's 2 staircases here, 2 staircases at the far end, and then 2 staircases in the middle. So if you go over here, check this door, because sometimes it's not open, sometimes you need to destroy it. Check this door, destroy it. Gives you an extra staircase as an option. And you book it. Crouch jump. This is a hard jump to make without mantling it. So I recommend not trying to jump through those seats, because a lot of times you have to mantle it 2 or 3 times as you get through.
Yeah, I see them.
It's also really important that all 4 players get here at the same time, because remember that horde that's chasing you from the bridge is still chasing you. And if you move quickly enough, you can get here, pick up your bomb, and get back to the boat before this little area gets clogged up. Because this choke point is... the hardest part of this mission is getting back onto the boat.
Yeah, it's no problem. Don't even have to ask.
Because everything gets choked up. You have a little tiny choke point. So you can throw a grenade, clear the path. So here is the way that I demonstrated in the play. You jump down the staircase, you jump down right here, and then you jump down right here. Now you can, as an alternative, the jeeps are just over there, and you can actually jump down off this railing. And if you jump down off this railing and you land on these right here, you don't take any fall damage. I have the bomb. Do I have to plan on that one? I never knew. I never knew.
I think I'll stick this one here. Job done. Time to run.
This is
And you get
Hope
the heck out.
If you're all quite through playing around,
And so again, right, you should notice, like, there's these extra staircases that I think people don't realize are here.
Big Mount Walker.
Here's the door we opened.
I got this.
Just an extra staircase that's available to you. I find a lot of times there's potential for it to be safer. And this is the ledge that you drop down. I recommend don't stand on this railing and then drop down. I actually recommend that you actually do a jump. You sort of just land as close as you can. And that can be a super fast, sneaky way to plant the bomb. Of course you need enough health to do it, as you might imagine. Will we make it back in time? I don't think so. But you'll all sort of get it now. Oh. Oh. I feel like it stopped for me. Anyways. That's the crossing. Some extra rooting. That little door opens up that extra pathway for you. And just, again, crossing is going to be about good pipe bomb timings and good grenade timings to basically clear the path for you when you need the path. And just some extra routes that you can consider and things like that. And I have nightmare playthrough footage of me beating this with random people. And we had one player who actually couldn't sprint during this mission, and you can sort of see how it got us killed. and then how I requested that player to stay behind on the bridge and just hold off the horde until they got beat up, until they got downed, because that player who couldn't sprint basically literally got us killed. So that's it. That's the Devil's Return. This little walkthrough. This is some extra information that I wanted to re-emphasize or cover that didn't get covered before. And so thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the future.